Welcome, everybody, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm going to be looking at a Vigilante movie from 2018. That movie is Peppermint. Now, um, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know really fuck all about this movie. I know that it has to do with a mother that goes after a cartel because they killed her husband and daughter, and the main lead of this movie is played by Jennifer Garner. Jennifer Garner, I've only seen her in two movies besides apparently this one, which I'm about to watch, which are Daredevil and Juno. And I fucking hated both of those movies for quite a bunch of different reasons, but I'm not gonna get into that. But the premise of this movie kind of sounds like it's Death Wish with a cartel kind of thing. And if it's anything like Death Wish, I fucking love Death Wish. The Charles Bronson one, especially, and the one with Bruce Willis is okay too. But I'm kind of half and half with this movie. I don't really know if it's going to be any good at all. I saw a few trailers for it when it was being advertised for the theaters, but I can't really remember fuck all of those trailers, so I'm going into this one really blank, to be completely honest, which is always really fun for me. I'm certainly hoping it's going to be decent, because I really don't want to sit through another shitty fucking Jennifer Garner movie. I've done that enough for my life. But the only way I'm going to find out if this movie's any good at all is if I shut the fuck up and I press play. And I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, let's sit back, relax, and watch Peppermint. Alright, I know this movie's only been on 6 minutes, but I'm just gonna point this out right now. If you are going to tell me that the reason Jennifer Garner's character is called fucking Peppermint in this movie is because her fucking daughter used to sell Girl Scout cookies, that is a stupid fucking reason. Now, I could think of a couple of ways off the top of my head how you could have made that name actually kind of interesting. Maybe she fucking kills people with a really sharp peppermint candy cane. That would have been certainly interesting and cool. But really, the fact that her daughter sells peppermint Girl Scout cookies, that's what you're fucking going with this film? I better get some better shit than that, because so far that whole reasoning is just fucking really, really retarded. I can only hope. But so far I feel like I might be in for hell. You know, guys, I'm just saying, that whole her family getting killed by the cartel would have felt a lot more dramatic if it all hadn't played out in slow motion with that really sappy ass dramatic music. It was all far too cheesy for that scene, and it just didn't feel like anything really. Like, I didn't really care, to be completely honest. I mean, sure, it's a little sad, but maybe it's the writing. I'm not sure. I'll get more into that later, but I couldn't care less that they just all got killed like that. I don't know if that makes me a fucking asshole or what, but I just could not care less. Okay, I have a stupid question. So these cops just got to a crime scene, and they have 3 victims dead, tied upside down, basically in the middle of a Ferris wheel. And I'm assuming, they haven't really stated shit yet, but I'm assuming it was Jennifer Garner's character. Here's my question. How in the fuck did she manage to get those motherfuckers up there? Like, they're right in the middle of the fucking Ferris wheel. You're telling me she, like, dragged These motherfuckers on her back crawled along to the middle of the Ferris wheel and tied their ankles to the fucking Ferris wheel. The FBI wants to come to us. Is she that psychotic? Has she lost her shit that much? How? I don't see any way that would have been fucking possible for her to do that. But then again, a lot of shit in this movie is not making really much sense to me, and it's really kind of starting to piss me off a little bit. I'm actually starting to get bored because nothing really interesting's happening. Hoping it's gonna pick up pretty quickly, but so far I'm really not impressed with this shit.
Looks safe from Bel Air.
Yeah, I know, guys. I haven't really said much lately in the last while, but I don't really have much to fucking say. Like, nothing's really going on much. There's a few action sequences, which those are certainly cool, but for the most part, this movie's kind of boring, to be completely honest. Like, the characters in this movie, I don't really have any purpose to care about them. The only person I'm supposed to really care about is Jennifer Gardner, and I don't care about her. She certainly is a badass, but mostly she just feels so misplaced in this movie. She doesn't feel right. I'll get more into that later, but like, plus a lot of the shit that's going on just like keeps unadding up, and I'm not really understanding a lot of the shit that's going on in the first place, and it's really starting to piss me off, to be completely honest. I'll get a lot into it more later, but I'm really hoping something fucking interesting happens, because this is starting to bore the shit out of me. Okay, well, time the fuck out here. Let me see if I got this straight. First of all, she goes to this building to try and find all these other bad guys that are responsible for ordering the death of her family. And first of all, they blew up that fucking building. That was a bit of a fucking overkill. Like, they had at least 100 different kinds of fucking bombs just blow up to try and kill this bitch. But apparently, in this building, there just so happened to be a fucking vent that led to the sewers for her to crawl through and get out of there before the fucking building blew up. Is it just me, or is that way too convenient to be fucking realistic? Like, god damn. That's just fucking so stupid. Like, for what reason would this building need to have a fucking vent to lead to the sewers? Just like for any of this movie to be fucking at least half realistic, it's getting on my last fucking nerve, and I still got almost 50 minutes left of this shit. God fucking damn it, man. Okay. That I did not see fucking coming. Okay, don't get me wrong, I knew one of those cops were fucking corrupt. I could just feel it watching this entire movie. But I was wrong about who I thought it was. That was actually a really nice executed twist there that I didn't see coming. I mean, I wish the rest of the movie could have been as good as that twist was, but what the hell, at least that's one positive I can get out of this fucking movie, so I'll take it. You know, I just have to say, for the record, these are some of the worst fucking cops I have ever seen in my entire life. Not only are they terrible at their fucking jobs, they're also fucking all retarded. Like, I'm honestly kind of baffled by how fucking stupid the police officers in this movie are. And there's still almost 20 minutes left. Will this movie just fucking end, for God's sake? Well, guys, that was Peppermint, and that ending was stupid. Fuck off, movie. Okay. Wow. Okay. Let's just get right into this, shall we? I'm gonna start off with the acting first. Okay. Particularly, I want to talk about Jennifer Gardner. Now, I said at the beginning of this video that both movies, I've only seen Jennifer Gardner in two movies, that being Juno and Daredevil. And I didn't like both of those movies for separate reasons. And I also didn't like her in those movies because her acting was really bad in it. Now, when it comes to her performance in this movie, the feeling is that she just feels so ridiculously out of place in this movie. I'm not saying she didn't try. She does try her hardest with what she is given in the scripts. But here's the thing. Jennifer Gardner does not know how to act. She by far gave the most unconvincing performance I think I've seen from an actress in a long time. And I'm not completely 100% sure if that's all just her or the script or both, but I just could not take her seriously in her character. I'm not saying her character was completely bad, but her performance just lacked the motivation, the attitude, and the power that I thought could have been brought to this role. I feel like there are a bunch of different actresses that would have fit the role a lot more nicely. Off the top of my head, I'd have to say Angelina Jolie or Elizabeth Olsen, because they know how to perfectly pull off such a badass character as this one was supposed to be. Jennifer Gardner was not able to do that, and not only did her performance fall flat in many different sequences, it just felt so underwhelming and just unlikable. So she was definitely a high low of the movie. The only actor in this movie that gave by far a decent performance was John Gallagher Jr. And that's because John Gallagher Jr. is fucking awesome in whatever he's given. Whether that be a serial killer in Hush or a guy living in a bomb shelter with a fucking psychopath. But he knows how to act. And his character in this movie threw me through a fucking loop because I thought he was just some fucking cop with a drinking problem that was just sick of everybody's all this bullshit activity in this fucking city. I was way off with that, and he did a fucking really excellent job with what he had to work with. But other than that, like, a lot of the villains, they just didn't feel intimidating in their roles, all the cartel members at least. Especially the main cartel boss, he was not really all of that intimidating. He didn't come across as a big gangster boss. He just fell flat in a lot of his scenes. Particularly a few of the scenes where Jennifer Gardner and his character would be interacting with each other. Those were more some of the very down scenes of the movie. But the acting in this movie just fell really flat, and it was really disappointing for me otherwise, except again for John Gallagher Jr. But yeah, the performance were uninspiring, and I could not have cared less for all the actors in this movie except for John. Okay, that being said, let's talk about the writing. So I really need to talk about this. The writing in this movie was fucking way off in so many different ways. Not only did I find a lot of fucking like
almost like plot holes and shit that didn't make sense. A lot of the characters just felt really unnatural and cliche and just unlikable. I mean, Jennifer Garner's character, Riley North, that's another thing. I want to know why the fuck they called this Peppermint, because that if it had to do with that fucking box or the fact that her daughter that got killed ordered peppermint flavored ice cream, then you are fucking stupid for naming this movie Peppermint, because that is a dumbass reason. Anywho, a lot of stuff in this movie doesn't feel properly balanced. Like, for starters, this whole thing starts with like her daughter and her husband getting killed because her husband was talking with one of his buddies about possibly robbing a cartel boss. But the problem with that was, how in the fuck did that information get to the cartel boss? Because the only ones that knew about it were Jennifer Garner's husband and her husband's friend he was planning it with. So the only way I can really understand that would have gotten back to the mob boss would be if these guys were going around saying to everybody that they could see and be like, oh, we're robbing the fucking mob boss tonight, we're gonna steal all this shit. And if that's really what they were doing, then that's just plain stupidity. But they don't fucking clearly explain how the hell all that information got back, or how the hell they were able to find them in the first place. Which, that whole thing really threw me off. And then in the courts, when they're trying to see if they can send the guys that killed the father and the daughter to trial, the judge was corrupted and paid off to throw the case. But here's the thing, they made it seem like she was on this medication which threw her judgment into consideration. My problem with that whole thing was that if that was to be the case and she was on this medication, wouldn't you need to, I don't know, talk to her doctor and see if her doctor has prescribed those to begin with? Because I know they didn't, because they were fucking planted on her to make her look like she was doing it. Which begs the question, like, she could have gone and to the whole crown system, and she could have thrown this whole judge's consideration into judgment because her doctor never prescribed the medication. So how could she have gotten this prescribed medication in the first place? And then she wouldn't have to go on this huge ass rampage because of the fucking judge. It just didn't make much sense. But I guess it was just like a really lazy excuse to get her to start going crazy. What else? Oh yeah, like I mentioned before, there was a crime scene where they were at the Ferris wheel that Jennifer Garner's character and her daughter and her husband had ridden the night that they were killed. And she hangs the three guys that shot up her family off of the Ferris wheel by a fucking rope, by their ankles. What I don't understand about that was how the hell she could have managed to do that. The only options were either A, she carried them on the back and she climbed up that Ferris wheel, which does not seem very fucking likely, or B, she dragged the three dead bodies onto one of the freaking pods, and that's another thing. If she did get them in the pods and how would she have gotten on the fucking ride? Like this, would she have to start the ride, put the bodies in first, start the ride, and then fucking climb to one and try and climb back up onto the fucking one with the bodies? And then, even then, how the hell is she gonna tie the bodies to that whole thing when the fucking Ferris wheel is moving? I guess, it just, the whole thing, I know I'm sounding picky as fuck, but the whole thing really bothered me. It didn't make any fucking sense, and it was just really lazy. And then there was another thing I mentioned. She goes into that building looking for all the rest of the cartel that ordered the fucking murder of her family, and she fucking just, there's like 50 fucking 60 bombs. I know I said 100, but it was like 30, 40 at the most, maybe 50. And the whole building just blew up into fucking one big flame. They fucking went completely overboard with that, might I add you. But I want to know why the fuck they had a goddamn storm drain for her to crawl into and get out of there so conveniently in this fucking weird ass building. It had no reason to be in there, and the fact that if there was one there, it didn't make any fucking sense. Not to mention a lot of the fucking police. Oh, that's another thing. Before I get into those police officers or dumbass cops, halfway into this movie, Jennifer Gardner fucking goes on a 5-year break before she. That's another thing. She goes on a fucking 5-year break before she starts. Before she starts this whole mayhem. Why she waited 5 years, I have no fucking idea. They never explain that. But after 5 years, she breaks into a military base to steal guns. My question with that is, they caught her on the camera. So you telling me that nobody in that fucking army base saw this woman sneaking in and didn't see anything wrong with it? Or they didn't, nobody in the army base saw her fucking carrying out guns? That means either A, the army just doesn't give a fuck, or B, everybody in the army is a fucking idiot. Because how the fuck could she have gotten in that base and gotten all those guns out in the fucking first place? Like, this just doesn't make any fucking sense. And those cops, I want to know how those cops still have fucking jobs. Because they're chasing this bitch for 5 years and she leaves so many clues behind her to her whereabouts that it makes me think that the cops don't really want to fucking catch her because they're having too much fun and they want to just continue fucking around so they don't have to waste their time doing shit that matters. Like, it's fucking honestly kind of ridiculous. Like, I really would like to know what they were fucking thinking. Not to mention, like, the lack of fucking character development any of these characters had, other than Peppermint, but her only motivation was, oh, my family died, the fucking judge was corrupt, I'm pissed off, I'm gonna fucking kill everybody, instead of try to get another trial because the judge was clearly corrupt. But even then, I will give a small positive because there were some brief ass moments when Peppermint, her name's not even Peppermint, why do I keep saying Peppermint? When fucking Riley does show a bit of character to herself. Particularly when she punches that dumb bitch that used to be a rival of hers in the face and she ties her to a chair to fucking bandage herself up. And she holds a gun to her head and she makes the bitch piss herself. That was very funny. That I will give a fucking shout out to. But the funny part was she's saying she's about to gonna leave and light the house on fire, and she starts walking away, and the woman starts screaming. She's like, "Relax, I'm just screwing with you. Stop fucking freaking out." That whole thing was actually kind of funny. That made me chuckle a little bit. Plus, the huge reveal close to the end of this movie that one of the cops corrupt. That was one of the major actual positives of the writing that I actually enjoyed. But other than that, I felt like the writing in this movie just was the biggest low point. Special effects, I'll talk about next, were actually extremely nice in a lot of sequences. Particularly, my favorite part was when it showed the judge. She tortures the judge in this movie that was corrupted into throwing her case out, and she nails his hands into his desks for whatever reason. She didn't really have to. I guess she was just pissed off and wanted to torture him a little bit, cause him pain, but he was already old and tied to a fucking chair with no way of getting out of it, so she didn't really need to do that, but what the hell, right? And then the blood and the nails in the hand looked really nicely. I thought that was really cool. A lot of the action sequences, the blood and the stabbing and the guns, it just the whole overall feel of it is really nice. The action sequences are like the best part of the movie, but other than that, I just have to fucking completely give a disown to this movie because it's just there's too many missing pieces. Oh, and that ending, the the ending of this movie kind of feels like it's keeping the doors squeak open for the possibility of sequel. You better not make a sequel to this movie because I swear to fucking God, I will refuse to watch it because there is nothing more that needs to fucking happen, and that ending was retarded. This movie felt like I should have been expecting less than I was, but I was let down extremely. And I don't know why they even bothered making this movie. It felt like a shitty version of Death Wish with a drug cartel. That's basically the best way I can describe the entire fucking feeling of this movie. So, when all is said and done, am I able to recommend Peppermint? No. No, I cannot. This movie let me down, and this movie makes me wish Jennifer Gardner would fucking quit acting. She is really, really bad at her job, and I really wish she would just go away. Well, that's all I really gotta say. This movie was a disappointment, and it can go fuck itself. I'm gonna try my best to forget about it. With that, we come to a close to reaction and review. I thank you for joining me on this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure enjoyed providing it for you. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below if you have suggestions of movies you'd like me to review. With that, we come to a close. I hope you have a nice day, and I will see you guys later. Peace out, guys.